Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, gratefully recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Excuse me. How is everybody today, guys? Good day today, great day. It was actually, again, 2 days in a row. I'm shocked that we get 34 degrees and sunny, and it literally felt like spring. I had my heat off, my window open, like we've been through some cold weather lately. Further than that, things are just moving along. Like content is, again, a word I don't think I'd ever used formally in my life that I use constantly today. When things are just moving along, like I'm just content with my life and the pace of things. Never mind the pace of what things are expanding. I'm excited beyond words. We'll talk a little bit later in the video about I'm constantly shown today the gravity of the good decisions that I'm making and where I would be if I wasn't. And we'll talk about that after. But we're going to get into reading today, guys. This is a really good reading. I'm going to go with the daily reflection today. For some reason, just for today, any meditation website is down, so I wasn't able to get that to load. Hopefully they'll get that situation fixed. I do love the Just for Today NA meditation readings, but I also love the daily reflections, and I read both every day and decide which one to go with. So this one today is titled Filling the Void. Filling the void. We needed to ask ourselves but one short question. Do I believe, or am I willing to believe, that there is a power greater than myself? As soon as a man can say that he does believe or is willing to believe, we emphatically assure him that he is on his way. And then this is a quote from a gentleman. I was always fascinated with the study of scientific principles. I was emotionally and physically distant from people while I pursued absolute knowledge. God and spirituality were meaningless academic exercises. I was a modern man of science. Knowledge was my higher power. Given the right set of equations, life was merely another problem to solve. Yet, my inner self was dying from my outer self's solution to life's problems, and the solution was alcohol and drugs. In spite of my intelligence, substances became my higher power. It was through the unconditional love which emanated from recovery peers and from meetings that I was able to discard substances as my higher power. The great void was filled. I was no longer lonely and apart from life. I had found a true power greater than myself. I had found God's love. There is only one equation which really matters to me now. God is in recovery and is guiding my life. Right? I was so happy. I was actually happy that I didn't find the Just for Day NA meditation when I read this, because that is a great aspect of the way I used to live. This is really dark. Let me see if I can lighten this up, guys. Sorry, I hate when I have to do this, but let's see. There we go. That's a little better. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better. It's just a little dark. Yeah, I used to say that all the time, guys. And again, I look back at it now and I realize how foolish it was, because I was terrified to pray and terrified to speak openly of the nonsense that I did, because I'd seen the power of prayer in my own life on a couple of occasions that I had said a prayer. I've talked about it before, but again, a lot of new viewers. So back, God, I think it was very early out of college. So we're talking, I was probably barely 20 years old. I had warrants out for my second and third OUI. The Norwood police, where I was living at the time, had knocked on my door, and I'd run out the back door. And I knew things were coming to a close. I was facing jail time. I was absolutely terrified. I was 19 years old. I'd never been to jail. Police now, I knew they were looking for me in Medway, but I'd moved to Norwood. I thought nobody knew me there, but now the Norwood police were knocking at my door, and I went out the back door, and I knew, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was freaking out. I was still driving illegal every day. I was working at a dealership in Norwood, and I'm like, I was working at the BMW gallery, and again, back in my mind in those days, I thought, as long as I got this great job, none of this legal stuff applies, because of what I put myself through to get through college, and this, I had every excuse in the book, yet I was out there breaking the law every day and trying to dodge the consequences. So I was so scared one night that I actually broke down and said a prayer, and I'm like, God, if you and just like we all done so many ridiculous times, God, if you just get me out of this one, I'll do that, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what I promised him, right? But literally the next morning, they kicked in my door and put handcuffs on me. And as I was sitting in the holding cell waiting to go to court, I'm like, ooh, well, I prayed to make this go away, and here we are 6 hours later. It went away the only way it could possibly go away. I had 2 open OUIs. They were going to come and get me. I saw the power in prayer. And yet, again, because that scared me and I was always living sideways, I chose to then decide, oh no, science makes sense. There can't be a God. And again, I don't necessarily buy into a lot of organized religion's description of God, but I know full well there is a God. Like, we're all here. There's planets in the universe and all these different things. Something's governing all of this. That is God. God to me is the resonant force behind all of this. It's not the little gray man in the clouds, gray-haired beard man in the clouds. It's not. I don't know. I don't have the capacity to know. I know I don't have to. All I know is that when I give reverence, when I'm faithful, when I act, and not according to any man's interpretation, but to my interpretation, be a good person, help my fellow man, be kind, be charitable, be honest, do things properly, do things to the best of my ability, be the best version of me I know, the one that God wants me to be, that put me here to be, to use all the natural abilities that He gave me for a proper thing, to make my community a better place, to make this world a better place, to spread kindness, to spread joy. These are God's laws to me, right? And again, I know so long as I do that and I drop to my knees and let Him know that I'm paying attention, that I appreciate the gifts that He's given to me, that I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have. I'm grateful that I'm alive, grateful that I've survived my own self-will and understood that we are all given free will. And it is up to us. Literally, that's the biggest gift, because that gives us the opportunity to anarchy and mutiny against God. And yet He loves us so much, He gives us that opportunity, right? So I appreciate that, and I show reverence, and I show gratitude, and I live in a state of gratitude, and I try to do better every single day. Not perfect. I know I make mistakes, and I fall short. I'm human. The human condition is one of falling short and picking ourselves up and trying to get better. So I do it to the best of my ability every day, and I pay attention, and I don't take shortcuts, and I don't self-medicate, and I don't leave people high and dry, and I just try to do this to the best of my ability. Follow these spiritual principles, right? Apply them in all areas of my life. Then I've come to expect miracles, and that's exactly what I found, guys. It's no, like, today, I used to consider, and again, I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but again, I used to use these, there's a scientific equation behind everything as an excuse for there not being a God. Where do you think all the science came from? And then lo and behold, over these last 20 years, all these things that we thought were nonsense, science is slowly proving one after the other. So I know now there is a God. It's not a matter of believing, it's knowing, because I've seen Him. I've communicated with Him, not in a human dialogue way, but by praying and meditating and receiving information that I didn't have, by just some of the abilities that I have that I just know don't come from me. They're not natural to me. They're supernatural. The gift of the negativity being removed from my heart, my desire to do better, my ability to overcome everything that I put myself through, just like that. I can't do it. I tried for 40 years and got nowhere. The minute I turned it over to God and said I will do everything against what I think is I should be doing, or what I want, or whatever, I don't know how to describe it, and just do what I believe you want me to do, my life has changed, like, dramatically. I'm not the person I was. I don't look like the person I was. I'm not living the life that I did. Yet I'm still in the same apartment, same phone, same body, but look 10 years younger, much healthier, way stronger, way clearer, way smarter, way more capable. Like, supernatural miracles have manifested in my life because I've become aligned with the resonance, become aligned with my higher power. I'm living on my highest timeline, however you choose to interpret it. I'm living proof that it works. And it's why I turn it over on a daily basis, because I know everything in life is contingent. I have the opportunity to take my will and go right back to doing whatever I used to think was right, or whatever I believe, and making up excuses. I don't today. I used to think I was the smartest person out there. Now, I'm a very intelligent human being, and I get more intelligent every day by admitting I don't know things. Because then when I don't realize I don't know things, it makes me pay attention to things, to look for answers. And things that always come so natural to me that I never bothered to look for answers. And now I understand what people meant by when they always said, you got so much potential, it's a shame you do the things you do. I never understood that because I didn't want to. I didn't stop to pay attention to it, and I do today. And with 13 months, I've changed everything about me. I love the person. And then, guys, I'm reverting back to the day I was walking into rehab. I was breaking down crying, saying, I don't know who I am. I don't know what matters to me. I don't know what a day, because, guys, my whole life had been drugs and alcohol since I was 10 years old. And I knew I was turning it over, and I knew I was letting go of that life, right? That's why it was so overwhelming to me, because I knew I had to learn a new way to live. I needed new everything. I needed a complete and utter overhaul. But again, as much as it scared me, I was crying because I knew I was going to do it, and I was just saying to God, okay, I will. And little by little, it was literally just baby steps. I thought it was going to be this big, overwhelming, what am I going to do? I literally, guys, I thought I was going to be in the cuckoo ward, because I thought I was going to have to literally learn to read, write, and walk all over again. No. All of the good, and there was always good in me. There was always good I was doing, just a lot of free will nonsense that were controlled by substances my entire life. I was able to keep all of that good, able to start recognizing other areas that I was very strong in, I was very gifted in, and able to understand that those are marketable things that my community needs. So I started leaning on those, right? And then all these areas where I fell short, I just stopped and talked to God in prayer, listened for answers in meditation, and then went out and applied the things that I was being taught and told in blind faith. Like, long before I saw the results of these things, I said, if they came in a meditation and it makes sense and it's for the good, then it's what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And every time I fall short, I'm going to pick myself up and say, that's okay, I was trying, I made a mistake. Oftentimes I did so mid-conversation and corrected my behavior, and that was showing God I'm paying attention and I'm trying. And lo and behold, he started just showering me with benefits and gifts and miracles. Guys, this program works. I had to let, again, I've got a whole new life. It cost me my old one a small price to pay. That old one didn't work, and it was holding me back, and it was making me hate the person I was. I was trying to live a life that forced me to medicate myself 24 hours a day, so I didn't pay attention to the shit that I was doing, the way that I was acting, the way I was portraying, and I didn't even look at myself to see what actually mattered. I didn't give myself enough value to think that my ideals or my desires mattered. How I wanted to live, what I wanted to say, how I wanted to act. I didn't even give myself the opportunity to think of those things. I was just strictly, like I said from day one, I was strictly stuck to reacting to the fires I was starting all around me. So my entire day was spent trying to get drugs and put out fires all around me so nobody knew what I was doing. And you can't get anywhere that way. I'm very capable, and I'm surprised I made it as far as I did. Now, I understand even that today is only because God kept me whole. When I look at the fact that I've crashed into telephone poles and gone through windshields at 150 miles an hour, crashed street bikes at 175 miles an hour, wearing shorts and a tank top on the highway, like came through unscathed, survived 4 years living in Boston winters, with 4 years living in Boston homeless, including winters with subarctic temperatures, right? Like, been to prison 15 times, and yet I'm not. I don't have a criminal mentality, and I want the best, and I don't think anybody owes me anything. And I still decided not to try and hustle and try and learn better skills. I literally would go in and just read books and come out and try to live better. But again, I was owned by a substance. I was making poor decisions. I wasn't ready to surrender. I always thought I had to keep what I had going, even though I was ramming my head through wall after wall and not getting any good results, and thinking I still had to keep doing it because that's who I am. That's what I'm here for. I'm paying for past life mistakes, this, that, curse, karma, blah, blah, blah. No, none of that was true. It was my manipulating situations, trying to get an illogical response out of a logical situation. It's never going to work, and it never was going to work. And it's proved by the fact that the minute I stopped doing so, the minute I stopped putting my spin on things, demanding what I thought I needed, and just said, okay, I give up. Let me start fresh. I will do whatever you put in front of me. No spin, no desire. Just put something in front of me. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Lo and behold, he put the right people in front of me. He put the right advisors in front of me, the right friends in front of me, the right AA groups in front of me, the right NA groups in front of me, the right community in front of me. And boom! All of a sudden, the answers I was getting in meditation made sense, and they work. Guys, I'm running a successful business that's thriving today, right? Now, I spoke about it briefly over the weekend. I get a call from a building manager from my former boss's clients. He's dropped the ball yet again, left some people high and dry, and she was asking me to come in and help out. And I wanted to because my natural instinct is to help. And yet I stopped and immediately came to me, well, you can't. I don't have the proper permits to work in that building. I don't have a comp slip to work in that building. It's his job, so if I do it, not only that, but she doesn't pay for like 60 days. I don't want to be chasing, yeah, I get the capital to do it, but it's not my contract. So it's going to be sketchy, and she's going to try and pay me through him, which means I risk him getting my money, and I got to chase him for it, and he still owes me money for work I did last year. I'm like, in no way, shape, or form did it make any kind of sense for me. So I decided not to do it, and I didn't think anything of it. But that was my intuition. God letting me know, no, it was another test, right? Will I act on the information that comes to me? Something in my gut told me not to do it, even though it's against everything I'm about. Yes, I'd want to help out. Yes, even if I just come in and do one job just to help out. Because I don't want anybody to go without heat and hot water. I got to know my restrictions, my boundaries, right? I got a phone call today from somebody I used to work with. My former boss, who has been working in that building without a plumbing license, doing illegal plumbing work in that building, has not pulled a permit in that building since 2017, pissed off a couple of tenants by leaving them hanging all weekend long, so much so that then when he walked in there Monday or Tuesday, they asked for everybody's full name, first and last name. While they were in there working, they had called the plumbing inspector in Malden, who showed up and caught them illegally working in the building without license. Frank's not licensed. This, that, the other. He's been doing work in that building since 2017. It's 180 units. I don't know how many heating systems he's installed in there, and he's not properly vented a single one. Guys, this is a massive, massive deal, and he's in way over his head. I don't know what's going to come of it, man. And all I know is that had I walked in there and tried to be the hero and save the day, knowing it wasn't my place, I could be wrapped up in that nightmare right now. And I'm not. My intuition is strong today. God gives me proper information, but it's very contingent upon me acting upon it and pivoting at a moment's notice. I have to know when somebody calls me and says, I have an emergency, I got somebody with no heat, when it's appropriate for me to do so, if I have the proper insurance, the proper, whatever, to go and do the job. And if I don't, then say, no, I don't. I'm sorry you don't, but there's a million companies out here that do. Call one of them. You don't want to spend the money. You think I'm going to do it cheaper. You're trying to save some money on your end. Not at my expense. Not when I'm going to be liable for it. And because I do these things day in and day out, I dodge bullets that I often don't know about. But every so often I get to see the results of it. And I'm like, wow. I am so incredibly grateful that I get to sit here content today. And she literally just called me 20 minutes ago again. And I know why she's calling, because they couldn't even finish the job they're doing because the plumber inspector showed up and they were trying to vent it illegally. She's going to want me to go over there and try and tie it in. And then what? I'm going to be, no. Because I know it's illegal. No, I won't do it. That's why I wouldn't do it in the first place. One of the reasons I left the company. Guys, I'm incredibly blessed to have found alignment with my higher power, whom I choose to call God. And it saves me in ways I don't ever see coming and may not even ever know about. But every so often I get a whiff and I'm like, wow. Every day I keep thinking this has got to be as good as it can possibly get. And the rewards just quadruple and go tenfold. And no, I'm just scratching the surface. So long it's contingent upon me continuing to do the next right thing because it's the right thing to do. Not because somebody's looking, not because it's the right thing to do. And so long as I do, and I keep starting my day in prayer, ending my day in prayer, and then meditating as I go to sleep every night on the next right step, there's no limit to what good, beautiful thing can come. But as soon as I let my guard down and I step backwards, the devil is just sitting there waiting for me, man. He'd love to have me back. He's not happy that I beat him. Well, I'm going to stick around, keep doing just what I'm doing, and just try to challenge myself every day to get better. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me. That's the video for today. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.